So, Jamaica's group, a group that I know everybody will be casting their eyes to quite intently. And that is where our focus will be. A very important group. One that we should really feast our eyes on closely. Top two advances to the next round. Before we provide some information on the opponents here, right? At the time of recording and at the time of the presentation of this video, CONCACAF are yet to reveal which team we play at home and which team we play away. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how we can get to each destination. Okay? Let's say that Jamaica is going to play against the Dominican Republic, right? I'm going to show you, logistically speaking, okay? You have non-stop flights from Kingston, Jamaica, to Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and even Saturdays as well. Non-stop flights from Kingston to Santo Domingo. Good? What about, let's go with the US Virgin Islands. No, Jamaica doesn't have flights to the US Virgin Islands. But, did you know that there are non-stop flights every day from Miami to St. Croix, which is the city where you will have games in USVI. So every single day of the week, I repeat, every single day of the week, non-stop flights from Miami to the US Virgin Islands. And why is this so convenient? Because this is a domestic flight. Remember, that the US Virgin Islands are a US territory. So therefore, they're part of the United States, not 50 states, but they're a US territory. So when you land in St. Croix, you don't go through immigration. You collect your bags and you go. You understand what I'm saying? So this is a domestic flight. 2 hours, 30 minutes from Miami. What about if it is the British Virgin Islands? Well, no straight flights from Jamaica, but you can go Kingston, Miami, or Montego Bay, Miami, and Miami to Road Town, 2 hours, 48 minutes. And guess what? Non-stop flights every day from Miami. Good. Now, what about Guatemala? No, there are no straight flights from Jamaica to Guatemala, but there are flights from Miami to Guatemala City every single day. 2 hours, 46 minutes. And you even have flights from Jamaica to Panama and Panama City to Guatemala City. And that is 2 hours and change. Non-stop flights every single day. And I know what you're going to say about Dominica. So you're going to have to go Jamaica to Kingston to Port of Spain, and Port of Spain to Roseau in Dominica. Okay, Caribbean Airlines flies from Trinidad and Tobago to Roseau in the Dominican Republic, in Dominica, sorry, 1 hour and 40 minutes. I repeat, the Caribbean Airlines flies from Trinidad and Tobago to Roseau in Dominica, 1 hour and 40 minutes flights. Flights there on Sundays, on Wednesdays, on Thursdays, and Fridays. Yeah. You can even go from Bridgetown, Barbados to Roseau, 1 hour, 0 minutes. And guess what? You have flights every day of the week except Tuesday from Bridgetown, Barbados to Dominica. How does that sound? What about St. John's, Antigua? St. John's, Antigua. There you go. St. John's, Antigua, 45 minutes. 45 minutes from Kingston, Antigua to Dominica, 45 minutes. How does that sound? You guys get the drift of what I'm saying? Well, that basically wraps up when it comes to travel. Okay? Visas, because when you have a Jamaican passport, okay? All right. So, US Virgin Islands, you need a US visa. Dominica, they're part of CARICOM, so no visa needed. Dominican Republic, no visa needed. Guatemala, I think you'll need a waiver. And of course, when it comes to the British Virgin Islands, no visa. So we can get into the football that I know that you guys are eagerly looking forward to. Are you guys ready for this conversation as we get right into football? Because that's what we're going to discuss right now. So you guys can be able to understand things a little bit better. Okay. You guys want to start with the head-to-head? We can do that. We can do that right now. So you guys ready? Good. Jamaica has played Guatemala on numerous occasions and actually holds the head-to-head history in relation to Guatemala in particular. Jamaica, in relation to Guatemala, has won 11 games, drawn 4, and lost 3. That's the head-to-head in favor of the Jamaicans. All right. And the only times that the Guatemalans have been able to get a result over Jamaica is in Guatemala, 1992, 1996, 2012. But Jamaica, superior edge. And Jamaica has actually even defeated Guatemala in Guatemala. And we have to go back to 1999 for that one. This match where Jamaica won by 4 goals to 2 in 99. Fabian Davis scored, Ricardo Fuller, and Theodore Whitmore. We know the last time both teams met was a 0-0 draw, but before that, the Gold Cup, Mari Bell scored. Belly scored to make it a 1-0 victory in the quarterfinals of the Gold Cup. And you look at the margin of victories as well in these matches as well. Many of them, 1 goal. You see a 1-0 victory for Jamaica here, a 2-1 in World Cup qualifying, a 2-0 in the Gold Cup, a 2-0 in a friendly, a 2-1 in a friendly, a 4-3 in a Gold Cup. Remember this in 2005? Luton, Chilton, Ricardo, Fuller, Jermaine, Hugh, Andy Williams on the score sheet in LA. Yeah. So you guys get the drift. Yeah, you guys get the drift. Good. 1-0, 2-0, 4-2. So it's always been a 1 goal or 2 goal margin of victory. Always. Now, I want to let you guys know in relation to many people confuse when it comes to the qualifying for the Olympics and come and use it in their head-to-head whenever it comes to senior team football. And the reason why I'm stressing this point is because historically, teams have put under 23 results whenever it has come down to senior team in their head-to-head. And the truth is that's not right to do that. It should never be that case. And why do I say that? Well, it should never be the case, bearing in mind that it is the age group. So that is the reason why it should not be counted. Because as we know, it's for men, age group tournament, and for women, it is not limited by age group. So for women head competing in Paris next year, they are not limited by age. It's not a under 23, under 17, or anything like that. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas for men, it is different. And I know it's not always been this case. I know that, and I get that. But what I'm speaking about specifically is what we're talking about is the Dominican Republic. And the truth is, Jamaica, believe it or not, whenever it comes to the senior level, has not faced the DR. Jamaica has faced the DR in Olympic qualifying football. And as you can see on your screen, we have to go back to 1975 for this. And in 1975, Jamaica got the better of DR 1-0 and 3-1 in 1975. 1-0 and 3-1. So that's the reason why I spoke about this Olympic journey. Okay. 1975, Jamaica took on the Dominican Republic. We faced the Dominican Republic at age group levels. We know the under-20s in 2022. So that's something that we have been familiar with for quite some time, actually. But whenever it comes to the senior level, many people ask, well, what is the head-to-head? And the truth is, whenever it has come to the head-to-head, well, the score is Jamaica 2, the Dominican Republic 0. And I'm more than happy to be able to double check that for you as well. More than welcome to be able to do it and double check for you. Because you know me, accuracy, reliability, and credibility. Because that's how it should be. Always. Accuracy, reliability, and credibility. So that's Jamaica 1, DR 0, Jamaica 3, Dominican Republic 1. This is 1975. So yes, this was many moons ago, but still a time frame where a lot of football. All the matches that Jamaica has played since 1925 to present. And if you go here in the 70s, which I'm referring to, in 1975, Jamaica played the Haitians in the official matches, and the Olympic qualifiers were not added here. But we'll add it. We'll add the games against the Dominican Republic. We'll add it. Okay, good. So we've looked at the head-to-head of Guatemala, the Dominican Republic. What about Dominica? Jamaica drew 0-0 with them in 1989. Okay. The British Virgin Islands, Jamaica's second biggest victory in international football, well, tied for biggest. It was a 12-0 victory over the British Virgin Islands in 1994. That's right, a 12-0 victory. And the second biggest victory that Jamaica has ever recorded in international football was an 11-1 victory over the US Virgin Islands. And it came at Jarrett Park. Luton Shelton was on the score sheet. Roland Dean was on the score sheet. Jermaine Hugh, Kari Stevenson, Andy Williams, Jermaine Hugh with a hat-trick in that game. Fabian Davis scored, Teofor Bennett. The USVI had 1 goal in that game. This was the debut of Ryan Thompson. That was his debut. Jamaica went on to win the Caribbean Cup, defeating Cuba by 1-0. So now that we have been able to establish that, there's some other things that we need to be able to discuss. We looked at the head-to-head of the teams. We looked at the travel. We looked at the logistics. We looked at if Jamaica needs visa to go to these places, right? So we've established all of that. All of that. Is everybody aware of what is needed? Because that is what I have to bring to your attention next. So on your screen now, you should see the groups, right? The first round. The first round takes place during the CONCACAF Nations League. So simultaneously, while you have the Copa America playoffs and while you have the Nations League finals, you'll have the first round of World Cup qualifying. So we'll keep an eye on the US Virgin Islands BVI and BVI USVI encounters, because the winner of that home and away series will, that's right, qualify for the second round of the qualifiers and be in Group E alongside Jamaica, the Dominican Republic, Dominica, USVI or BVI. Okay, so now that I have that said, let's learn a little bit more about our opponents, shall we? You guys ready? So let's start with the US Virgin Islands, shall we? The US Virgin Islands, they have a nickname called the Dashing Eagle. That is their nickname. They're called the Dashing Eagle. They've been around in international football for some time, having played football in the 90s. That's when they started their first international. Highest ranking, 149. And they're currently ranked 208th right now in the FIFA World Rankings. Their biggest win, a 3-0 victory over Anguilla, which was back in 2019. Their biggest defeat was 14-1 to the US, to St. Lucia. Let's look at their results in international football. That's the US Virgin Islands. Let's look at their results. First match was back in 98, March 1998. And they won that game, defeating BVI by a goal to nil. But their last win was June last year against TCI. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They've gone 8 matches without a victory. And the last time that the US Virgin Islands kept a clean sheet in international football was March 2021. That was the last time that they kept a clean sheet. And this was a friendly international against Anguilla. Their home stadium, it's called Bethlehem Soccer Stadium, can hold roughly about 1,500 people. It's a grass pitch, so that you all are aware as well. Okay? Grass pitch. In terms of the players that they have within their squad, mostly players that ply their trade collegiately, universities, colleges. Domestic players are part of the squad as well. Domestic players are part of the makeup of their team, and they have been around for some time. The technical director is Vin Blaine. He's a technical director of the US Virgin Islands. Jamaican-born Vin Blaine. He also worked some time with Grenada as well, you know? So he's been around. You have to make sure everything is on point, you know? The legend of this team, to be honest with you, is McDonald Taylor Jr. Has Jamaican heritage, been around since 2006. He's 31 now, so believe it or not, he was a teenager when he made his debut. And he holds a record for being one of the youngest players to play international football in a World Cup qualifier, the son of McDonald Sr. Yeah, so his maternal side of the family, Jamaica. Key player to look out for, JC Mack, or as they call him, James Charles Mack, JC Mack, born in the United States, 35-year-old midfielder, scores goals, was once part of Chicago Fire Premier, also played in the USL, played in Europe as well, in Scandinavia, also played in Iceland as well. And now playing straight in New Zealand. And you might say Simon, but he was born in the United States. Once you have an American passport, then you can represent the US Virgin Islands. Once you have a US passport, you can represent the US Virgin Islands. He has a US passport. He was born in the US, and he's representing them. What about British Virgin Islands? Their nickname is the Nature Boys. Their capital city is Road Town, and they play at the A.O. Shirley Recreation Ground, roughly about 1,500 in capacity as well. British Virgin Islands is British Overseas Territory. They've had a Jamaican coach a team, Michael Tulloch, back in 2004, just for that little bit of context as well. In terms of players, domestic and also players apply their trade within England as well. The likes of Weymouth and Eastleigh and Poole United and Chesham United, Hayes and Yeading, Winchester. Hayes and Yeading, is a club that we've had Jamaicans play in the past as well, and Jamaicans who have been involved in that squad. British Virgin Islands, ranked 207 in the world, highest was 160. Biggest win, 6-0 over Anguilla. Biggest defeat, 17-0 loss to DR back in 2010. We'll go to the Windward Islands now and talk about Dominica. Dominica, Jamaica's played them the least in terms of islands in the Eastern Caribbean. They're known for their mountain chicken, known for their cricket, Shane Chillingfoot, Portsmouth. So the island does so well in. Former French colony as well before the British took over. So you go from Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Grenada. All of that was French territory at one point, All of that was French territory at one point. But the only ones that remained French was Martinique and Guadeloupe and the Leeward Islands. So that was a little above them, you know? Dominica, highest ranking, 128. Current, 180. Dominica in the Nations League. They've been around League B, League C, thereabouts. Domestic players have been an important role for them, but also they've had overseas players like Richard Paquette that played an important role for the team as well. The Dominican passport is also very handy because it can carry you places. Never been to the Gold Cup. I've been in League B and League C of the Nations League. Now we go to the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic, highest FIFA ranking, 76. Current, 151. A team that has slowly but surely gained momentum, growth, and progress in the international world. For me, when they first made their mark was 2012, when they advanced to the final round of the Caribbean Cup. That, for me, was the starting point for Dominica. As you can see here, Caribbean Cup, that was a starting point for them. Slowly but surely, made strides, made progression, employed a style of play that paid dividends for them in their progression, and now quite a diverse squad. Players apply their trade in Spain, in the US, domestically, in Argentina, in Europe, in Scandinavia, in Africa, different places. Different places. That's what they've done. Haven't been to a Gold Cup, haven't qualified for a Gold Cup. They've been to an under-20 World Cup, though, as we all know. They were at the under-20 World Cup quite recently. First ever World Cup. Just to show you how they did. They scored a goal against Nigeria. Goal coming from Edison Ascona. Edison Ascona, 20-year-old Inter Miami player. Folks watching this video, after you hit the like button, I need you to listen to what I'm going to say very carefully. The Dominican Republic, and by extension, Group E, no pushover, okay? No pushover. Do you all understand me? This group is no pushover for Jamaica. I repeat, this group, no pushover for Jamaica. No walk in the park. Every team needs to be taken seriously. Alexiaro Carrasco has been called up to the first team. Xavier Valdez, Houston Dynamo, has played for the Dominican Republic senior team. Olivier Schütthauser, Swiss, former Swiss under-19, now Dominican Republic. Formerly of Leipzig, has played in Liechtenstein as well. Players that have played all over the world, Europe and domestically. So make that note. Okay, good. What about Guatemala? Guatemala is a team that Jamaica has played constantly, different eras of football, different time frames. Before we get into all of that, I just want to show you, because the Dominican Republic will be at the Olympic Games. They and the United States will be at the Olympic Games. Draw is still to be made, but they will be at the Olympics. Denmark will be at the Olympics in football. Guatemala. The legend Carlos Ruiz played in futsal World Cups. Guatemala, largely domestic based, as like we saw at the Gold Cup. Although we've seen players in North America, just like the one that was the goalkeeper that was in Norway, now in the MLS. So Guatemala will be largely domestic based, with a sprinkle of players who apply their trade in the States, and also just a few in Europe. Just a few. A team that Jamaica has played in World Cup qualifying. You can go back to the 2014 cycle. Jamaica. DeMar Phillips, Brian Johnson on the score sheet. Yeah. Can't take anybody lightly, folks. 12 points. That's what we need. 12 points is what we need. Nothing less. 12 points. 3, 6, 9, 12. We need to be going into the Copa America with 6 points. We want that to the back of our brain so we can focus on Copa America and not saying to ourselves, oh man, we're in a tough spot. We only have X number of points from X number of games in World Cup qualifying, and World Cup qualifying is not until another year from now. Remember, we're going to play 2 World Cup qualifiers in June 2024 and 2 World Cup qualifiers in June 2025. So you know what that means? It means that it is imperative on our standpoint to get those wins. Folks, do not take anybody lightly. Do not take anybody lightly. We have to stand firm and strong. Firm and strong for these precious points. 10 matches, folks. We're 10 matches away from a World Cup. Let's kick things off with 4 straight wins and then 6 wins after that. Come on, folks. Get behind the team. Keep working hard. Let's get the necessary results that we need. Don't forget, like, share, comment, and subscribe to Reggae Boys Commentary for more content. All right, guys. Please, a lot of time and energy went into preparing this video so that you have a comprehensive preview of what comes ahead, okay? So come on, guys. Like the video, hit the subscribe button. Right now, I'm waiting for you guys. I'm waiting. I agree here. Come on, guys. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I'm waiting on you guys. Okay?